2.3, adding and subtracting unlike fractions. In hiking, you are hiking between two campsites on the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal National Historic Park. The distance between the campsites are 10 and 1/5 miles. You have already hiked 5 3/4 miles. How many more miles do you have to hike? So we're going to take our total amount of walking. We're going to subtract what we've already walked to get how much we have left to walk. Before we do that, we need to change the fractions, mixed numbers, excuse me, having a common denominator. So the least common denominator for 4 and 5 is 20. So 10 and 1/5, the equivalent fraction of that will be 10 and 4 over 20 minus 5 and 15 over 20. Now I'm going to notice that I cannot take in my numerators 15 from 4. So I'm going to regroup this. Take one whole from that, and in this instance, one whole is 20 over 20. I'm going to add that to the parts that I already have. So now I have 9 and 24 over 20. Now I can subtract 15 from 24. 15 from 24 is, so now I have 9 over 20, and then the whole numbers, 5 from 9 is 4. So I have 4 and 9/20 miles left to hike. And the question that they have at the bottom, have you hiked more than halfway? So yes, you have hiked more than halfway, because half of 10 is 5, and you only have 4 and 9/20 miles left. Now, we're going to have examples A, B, and C, where we're going to add and subtract the fractions. In example A, we need to find the least common denominator of 12 and 3. So 5/12 will stay the same. An equivalent fraction of 1/3 with the denominator of 12 would be 4/12. 5 plus 4 is 9/12. Simplified is 3/4. In B, we're subtracting two fractions, and we'll use the same rules as we do with subtracting integers. We're going to add the opposite. Now we're going to find the least common denominator for 6 and 9, which is going to be 18. So negative 5/6 will change to negative 15 over 18 plus negative 14 over 18. Add our numerators. Negative 15 plus negative 14 is negative 29 over 18. Simplified. Negative 1 and 11 over 18. On C, again, we're going to add the opposite. And we're going to take our integer rules, noticing their different signs. So we're going to actually subtract their absolute values. Eight minus 3 is 5. Excuse me, 5/12. You can probably see that. I'll move it over here. So when we take their absolute values and subtract, we get 5/12, and our answer is going to be positive because 2/3 absolute value is greater than 1. Okay, so in example 2, we're going to be adding with mixed numbers. We're going to take generally the same rules. We are going to notice that we're adding. They're both negative. So your answer is going to be negative. Your final answer will be negative, but we need to find the LCD for 5 and 11. So 55 will be our LCD. We're going to need to change each of these fractions with an LCD of 55. Now, go ahead and add our whole numbers. Negative 4 plus negative 2 is negative 6. We'll add our numerators. 22 plus 30 is 52 over 55. Now, in B, going to find equivalent fractions. So our LCD for these would be 36. So we'll find equivalent fractions. Let's add our whole numbers. 3 plus 7 is 10. Then we'll add our numerators. 16 plus 21 is 37 over 36. Our final answer will be 11 and 1 over 36. Now we're going to be simplifying expressions. In this example, we're subtracting. So again, we'll be adding the opposite. We will need to find an LCD for this. So the LCD would be 6. So now a to the second power will now change to 3a over 6 because we multiplied the numerator and denominator by 3, which gave us 3a over 6. Then we'll again add our opposite. 3a minus a is equal to 2a over 6. Simplified, our final answer will equal a over 3 because the 2 and the 6 have a common factor of 2. Example 4. Doug volunteered to work 7.5 hours on a weekend fundraiser. On Saturday, he worked 2 2/3 hours. How many hours will he be working on the fundraiser on Sunday? We are now going to take how much he had already worked, 7 1/2. Excuse me, how much total time he volunteered, which is 7 1/2. Subtract what he had already worked. Going to add the opposite. So I need to find a common denominator, which will be 6. Going to notice right now that I cannot take 4 from 3, so I'm going to regroup. And in this instance, the fraction is 6, the denominator is 6, so I'm going to add 6 to the 3 that I already have and get 9. Now I've got 6 minus 2, which is 4, and then I subtract my numerators, 4 from 9, which is 5 over 6. So your final answer will be 4 5/6 hours.